One thing that I love about Game Pass, guys, is the RPG list is extensive, and I have the best 20 games you should play if you're a big fan of role-playing games. I'm Sonny, your host, and we're going to kick this off with Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, and this is a game that features blindingly fast-paced combat with fluid animation and stunningly gorgeous VFX that keeps you immersed like nothing else. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's already a ton of Souls-like games out there, but what makes Wo Long Fallen Dynasty so special is that it has managed to create its place in the genre by offering a refreshingly take on the fan favorite gameplay mechanics that RPG gamers have come to love over time. It has its own unique twists and turns, mixed with its gorgeous visuals, fun combat, and I feel like you really can't miss out on a game of this caliber. Now, while this game isn't perfect, the Ascent is yet another awesome looking RPG that definitely has some spunk to it. It's a co-op action shooter RPG that drops you smack dab in the middle of a vast cyberpunk world where you are tasked to bring back peace and stability after the untimely fall of the Ascent. This is a mega corporation that's running things from the shadows, and this corporation has really pushed the world to the brink of extinction. But as you delve deeper into this chaos, you realize just how difficult it is to stay alive in this harsh, unforgiving, and downright dangerous world, and you realize quickly you must rely on your wits and shooting skills just to live another day. And while at times the game's a little difficult, I feel the overall gameplay is actually quite thrilling for avid RPG gamers, so definitely give this title a shot. So the Fable franchise has given us some of the best RPG games that have kept us busy since 2004, but for players who still haven't played this game, now might be the perfect time for you to do so, as 3 of the 4 main titles in this series are available to play on Xbox Game Pass right now, including Fable 2 and 3 and the Anniversary Edition. In this game, players get to become the hero of their own story, customizing their character's appearance, personality, and abilities through a series of exciting quests and battles, and the best part, the choices you make throughout the game actually affect the storyline and the ultimate outcome of your quest. And with the latest Fable title set to release sometime in the near future, guys, there's never been a better time to dive into this beloved series. Now, Tailworlds Entertainment did an awesome job with the original Mount and Blade game. It offered players a thrilling Western-style RPG gameplay that required very little to no changes at all. It was like the classic case of it ain't broke, no need to fix it. But I'm glad they did, and we have the new and improved Mount and Blade sequel that has captured the heart of millions of RPG lovers, and for good reason. The game comes packed with everything from amazing visuals to action-packed gameplay with hundreds of soldiers on the screen, and that's all thanks to the constant efforts made by Tailworlds to polish and improve the game through patches and community feedback. Mount and Blade Bannerlord 2 offers players another chance to lead their own armies, literally you recruiting soldier by soldier, and you yourself, the leader, are leading the charge into battle on horseback with your troops right behind you, and you'll be using a variety of weapons and tactics to become the ultimate general. This is a sandbox RPG through and through, and if you love to just have nothing but choice in your hands, from fighting for a king or being your own king, this is the game to do it, and it's one of my favorites on this list. Now, I have seen some pretty strange RPGs over the years, but nothing as weird as, well, Weird West. This is a one-of-a-kind RPG that takes cowboys and magic and it mixes them up into this like deliciously weird and wonderful concoction that will have you feeling like you're living in a strange alternative universe. But don't let the bizarre concept fool you. Weird West is an amazing game with highly favorable reviews from players and critics alike. In this game, you'll get to ride horses, explore creepy towns, fight off monstrous creatures, and even create your own custom cowboy outfit. It's like being a cowboy wizard, and who wouldn't want to be that? So if you're looking for an RPG that's just a little bit different, a little bit strange, but a whole lot of fun, I think Weird West is that game for you. So we have the franchise Shadowrun. This is an RPG series that's like a tasty genre blending cocktail, mixing up cyberpunk and fantasy elements together to create a unique gaming experience for classic RPG lovers. And the best part is that if you have Game Pass, you get not 1, not 2, but 3 Shadowrun games to enjoy. You have Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, and Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition. And if you guys don't know what Shadowrun's all about, well, this RPG series throws you into a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk world where you play as Shadowrunners, trying to rebuild society and establish order amidst chaos. But it's not just about surviving. You can also navigate a web of political intrigue and make tough choices that will shape the course of the game. It's like playing a game of chess, but with guns, magic, and cybernetic enhancements. All 3 games are unique, they're all great in their own way, but if I were to recommend just one, I definitely would play Dragonfall. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, as Persona has always been one of the most loved RPG franchises for a long time. Lucky for us, we have not one, not two, but 3 different Persona titles to choose from. That includes Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royale. All these titles offer different and not to mention super thrilling adventures. Everything in this game, from the storyline to quirky characters, is totally on point, and I'm sure you will have plenty on your hands with a series of side quests and activities. If you guys haven't played any of the Persona games, I would highly recommend you start with Persona 5. It's one of the most heralded RPGs. It's a great one to start with if you're new to the franchise, and even if you're not a fan of JRPGs, I couldn't recommend this series more. It's a great one and you're gonna have a lot of fun. Now, Obsidian Entertainment has produced some of the best names in the RPG genre, and Pillarts of Eternity is definitely on the top of that list. This series remains a fan favorite for millions of Xbox players who just love some old school RPGs, and surely Pillarts of Eternity is one of the only few left. It has everything from deep character customization, plenty of races, intense tactical combat, deep and meaningful lores, and just a lot more. If you guys are an isometric RPG veteran, there's a good chance you're going to have fun with Pillarts of Eternity. It offers a great atmosphere, exceptional writing, lots of meaningful dialogue options, and multiple endings to each and every quest depending on the choices that you make. It's a perfect pick for old school RPG lovers, but it has a beautiful modern look. Now, the next game we have is Darkest Dungeon. This is a game that's going to have you kind of up and down on an emotional roller coaster due to its unforgiving nature and hard difficulty. It has received highly positive reviews from both players and critics alike. Darkest Dungeon is particularly loved for its atmospheric and immersive world, its intense gameplay, and just being super hard, because if you fail, you legit see your team of characters die and all the work that you put into them just completely gone. On top of that, if that wasn't enough, when you're adventuring through its dark world, it's actually going to take a toll on your team's characters' mental health and emotional health, and depending on your choices, your squad of heroes can develop negative traits and phobias that can impact their performance in combat and ultimately lead to their untimely deaths. Darkest Dungeon is definitely not for the faint of heart, but guys, it is a rewarding adventure for a hardcore RPG fan, one that I have personally spent hundreds of hours on, so it definitely has my full endorsement. Now, back in the day, Mass Effect became quite a hit, and it was only fair for the developers to follow up with a sequel with Mass Effect 2, and that proved to be a worthy one. The game builds upon the strong foundations of its predecessor with many improvements and additions that really made the game a lot more modern at the time. Playing as the fan favorite Commander Shepard, the game has you assembling a team of operatives to take on the greatest threat humanity has ever faced. Now, Mass Effect 2 offers a rich and immersive world, an engaging storyline, a deep character development with intense tactical combat, and freedom to make your own choices. All these things combine together to create an immersive experience that stays with you for years, and I would know. I actually beat this game over a decade ago, and I still remember its story like it was yesterday. So it's a good one if you're looking for a great RPG with high story potential. And also notable, Mass Effect 1 and 3 are also on Game Pass, so if you guys want to experience one of the best RPG series of all time, you can definitely do it with Game Pass. When it comes to playing role-playing games, you could really never go wrong with a Fallout title, and I would know this is my most favorite franchise of all time. This series has produced some of the most highly acclaimed RPG titles that remain today fan favorites for many players around the world. Personally though, I think Fallout New Vegas is more my speed when it comes to the classic RPG experience, and overall it's one that I have literally spent hundreds of hours in. Now, it leans more towards storytelling and player choices than combat and gunplay, which really gives you more freedom to choose your own path in New Vegas's open-ended story. For RPG lovers, Fallout New Vegas, despite its age, is still the go-to Fallout game in the series, but honestly, you can't go wrong with any other Fallout title on Game Pass, period. But this is the one I would definitely point to you if you guys have never journeyed through this post-apocalyptic wasteland. While the jury is still out to determine whether or not Monster Hunter Rise qualifies as an RPG, we're gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. The game heavily relies on the action side of things, and for good reasons. As a hunter, you're gonna embark on some pretty wild quests to track down and defeat some of the most fearsome creatures ever seen. With both single player and multiplayer modes available, you can choose to embark on these heart-pounding adventures alone, or you can tag along with friends as you explore breathtaking landscapes, hunt for terrifying beasts with your arsenal of powerful weapons and armor, and it's a really great gaming loop that, for me over time, has gotten pretty addicting, and it's why it's made this list. So we have the title Torment Tides of Numenera. This is one of the most story-rich RPGs on this list. It features an engaging storyline, deep and complex characters, thought-provoking philosophical themes with an emphasis on meaningful dialogue choices. It's also a great option for players who love feeling in control of the situation, where every decision has grave consequences. In a world full of sci-fis and fantasies, Torment Tides of Numenera embraces both to create this unique blend that every RPG lover just seems to love. You will meet a cast of colorful characters on your ventures across the vast world, you'll be uncovering closely guarded secrets, and you'll be forming long-lasting relationships with other lowly beings. So Ubisoft's franchise Assassin's Creed has produced some of the best action-adventure games of all times, but Origins was the first major entry in the series that gives Assassin's Creed a true RPG touch with many awesome features that players have grown to love over the years, including character progression, skill trees, gear customization, and even the combat mechanics in this game are very RPG-like. This gives RPG lovers a great chance to explore ancient Egypt all in its glory. Origins has received over time overwhelmingly positive reviews from players and critics for its complex narrative, deep character development, and attention to detail. So if you haven't played this game yet, this is a great RPG to dive into and play in 2023 and beyond. Since we're talking about the Origins, Dragon Age is yet another epic franchise that gives you the perfect dose of classic RPG with its Origins title. The game offers a rich and immersive world filled with interesting characters, intricate lore, and engaging storylines. It gives you the freedom to make your own choices that allow you to shape your character's personality and influence the story's outcome. The combat system here is strategic and challenging, with a focus on party-based tactics that require the player to carefully manage their group's abilities and resources to succeed. All these things make up for one of the most unique RPG experiences that's very hard to come by these days, and that's why Dragon Age Origins deserves a place on this list, and why it's become one of the top RPGs on Game Pass. Obsidian Entertainment seems to have figured out the perfect formula for making successful RPGs, and The Outer Worlds is yet another great example of that. Set in a sci-fi setting, The Outer Worlds has players exploring and building a completely new world in an unknown universe. The game features a rich, player-driven story where players' choices shape the story and the world around it. This also applies to the game's tactical combat system, making it more exciting and rewarding. The game also features an extensive character progression system, which includes skill trees, perks, and a variety of gear and equipment options that allow the players to customize to their playstyle. Out of all the games on this list, I honestly feel this might be one of the most underrated RPGs of all time. The story takes you on a journey with so many twists and turns. Obsidian did a great job of really having me care about every single character and their backstory. And if you guys want a game with just great storytelling and some good combat, The Outer Worlds is one of my top picks. Now, Wasteland remains a big name in the RPG genre, and for very good reasons. You can literally pick any game from the long-running series and it would totally be worth your time. But Wasteland 3 for me is an overall improved version of the previous entry that also stays true to the franchise's core. It remains a great choice for its strong narrative, engaging characters, and deep RPG mechanics. One of the main reasons why this game has blown up in popularity over the years is its super challenging yet deep turn-based combat that can be quite unforgiving for those not paying enough attention. The story is decent, but combined with the game's immersive setting in the fictional city of Colorado, it really makes you feel like you're part of the game and the story overall. The JRPG genre is home to some of the most exciting and action-packed titles, and Yakuza Like a Dragon is no exception to it. Unlike the previous games in the Yakuza series, Like a Dragon takes a different approach to combat by making it turn-based instead of real-time, which gives it a more classic JRPG touch. And you still get to experience the thrill of Yakuza by exploring the neon-lit streets of Japan as you navigate dangerous alliances and face off against rival gangs. With a cast of unforgettable characters, intense combat, and a gripping storyline, Yakuza Like a Dragon is a must-play for fans of action-packed RPGs. Now, if you're a fan of indie RPGs, I think Death's Door is a good one. It's an action-adventure RPG title developed by Acid Nerve, where you assume control of a soul collector crow who is tasked to collect the souls of the dead. However, things take a wild turn when one of the souls is stolen, and now you must travel to a world where death doesn't exist to retrieve those lost souls. It's a fun RPG with a humorous yet somehow captivating story that mainly appeals to fans of Legend of Zelda. Death's Door also features a fast-paced action-packed combat combat with a variety of enemies to fight and bosses to take down. And I love the game's dark humorous tone, the witty dialogue, and the quirky characters. All of it adds to the overall charm. And our final game is Skyrim, the legendary RPG that has captivated gamers for well over a decade. But there are still people who haven't played this gem, and if you happen to be one of them, now might be the best time for you to join this epic adventure. The game offers you a vast open world to explore, filled with dragons, ancient ruins, magical spells, and it's a place where you can be anyone you want to be, a mighty warrior, a sneaky thief, or a powerful mage. And the best part, you get to explore this massive world at your own pace, and there's even a whole modding community for Skyrim like other Bethesda games, which really allows players to add all sorts of crazy modifications to the game to make it even more interesting while keeping it refreshing as ever. But if you guys want more games to check out on Game Pass, I have a list of the 50 best on the screen.